Oh my gosh, guys. It looks like things are popping off with Logan Paul and his generic white friends on his podcast or whatever. Yeah, like I've been seeing things of like I guess like the Mike Meljak. No. George Janko, that guy. Apparently he's like lashing out at Logan Paul, exposing him for mistreating him and stuff. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Logan Paul is at the headlines again, not because he refunded the victims of CryptoZoo, but because he made a video claiming his ex-friend and podcast host George Janko is a liar. So we have quite a bit to unpack in today's video. As most of you guys know, Logan Paul runs a podcast known as Impulsive, and this podcast has had a range of different co-hosts throughout the years, but he's kept Mike Majlak on for the longest. The other guy who's probably been there the second longest would be George Janko, as he's been an Impulsive co-host for roughly 15 months. But I think he was also frequenting this show before he became an official co-host, and it seems like they had a good run, but it was very clear by the end, things were really falling off. Something was seriously wrong in that friendship. And out of everything that happened in public that we could see, I feel like there was like two main pivotal moments that really cut these two apart from each other.
Yeah, I think there was something about when like Logan Paul was he was like making fun of him for being Christian or something. I think that was a thing. And then wasn't there like a Bobby Lee situation where I think George Janko really felt like a third wheel in that Bobby Lee episode, and like Bobby Lee was really like roasting him and stuff. But then I think in a podcast that him and Mike Malgmack did recently, I think George Janko, and I literally saw this on like Twitter, but I think George Janko like basically revealed that they cut out a bunch of stuff from that episode of like Bobby Lee like grabbing his willy, which like stuff like weird stuff like that, which actually made George Janko like finally get up and leave. That's crazy if true.
Number one was Logan calling out and going in on George.
Like yeah, like that completely changes the situation, right?
George for being a Christian, and number two was the Bobby Lee podcast. The first thing I mentioned there made Logan look really bad, not only as a friend, but also as a human being. And then the whole Bobby Lee situation, it just kind of...
Yeah, I don't really remember what exactly Logan said about his faith. I mean, I don't know if it's like that bad or not.
Made George look like he struggled to take jokes. And it was just all around a weird look for George because he really was branding himself at that time as being a comedian. But we have a whole lot more information on the situation now as the recent feud flared up again a couple days ago when George brought the other co-host, Mike Majlak, onto his podcast. So here's the first clip that's important to this feud.
This is where we probably have to get into the material. Like that was
Bobby Lee situation.
No, hold on. We can talk about those. Okay, you can. I'll listen and said, yeah.
Okay, the Bobby Lee situation.
Who was the first person that jumped?
We're serious
Oh my
about
gosh.
bacon, so we made our bacon the best. Get a taste of Culver's new
YouTube
thick-cut
knows
bacon.
that we're about to get
Hey, it's
into
Ryan
the
Reynolds, and
tea.
I'm here with Keith,
Trying to stop
co-star of
me.
my upcoming film.
They can't stop me.
Off the couch and said George just left. That was not good. We have to fix the situation.
But did
who
they not,
tried to?
did they not cut shit that you should have stood up for me and said, hey, you can't cut that shit? That's gonna make him look like an idiot for leaving.
Okay, let's slow down and I'll answer that. We have always cut. This is all healthy, by the way. We have always cut.
Start crying.
No. Which by the way would be healthy. We have
This feels like
numerous times.
This feels like Mike Malgmack. It feels like he knows that he's about to say something that's like it's gonna make him look really bad. So he's like trying to like soften the blow by being like, "Oh, this is healthy, by the way. What we're doing here, this is like really good." I don't know. I get like super duper like Snake vibes from this guy.
Times on the show, which I'm sure a number of shows do, cut things that we believe will protect the integrity or reputation of the guest.
That protected nobody but him.
No, the guest. That's what I'm trying.
Well, what about the guy that you break bread with, bro?
But we removed a number of things that you said on the podcast.
Name one.
Well, no, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Booty, bro.
No. Do you want me to? There was something that you said on the laser beam
Ooh.
episode.
What laser beam episode?
Do you remember laser beam in Australia when
What'd
we
I
did
say?
that episode?
He said the N-word. So it's what it seems like.
I'd rather not say. I can tell. Why don't I just tell you?
Just tell me,
after?
I'll beep it.
You said something about like laughing at a girl getting hit in like a parking lot. You saw like a
Oh,
fight.
yeah, I just said the joke wrong.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't sexually harass somebody, Mike.
I'm not.
Whoa, okay, that brings a
Bro, this is oof.
whole lot more context into the situation. If they cut out Bobby doing that to him, things start to make a whole lot more sense now.
But you, okay, Mike, if this was an episode that was you, and what happened to you, and then the whole world.
Also, look at. Do you see what Mike Maljmuk like does? Where he's like, he then like, he like barely coughs up to like cutting stuff out of the Bobby Lee episode. And then he like immediately flips it around on George Janko, where he's like, "But remember, we cut out bad things that you've done too."
World thinks that I walked away because I can't take a joke. That's fucked,
Well,
that's fucked.
it parlayed into more stuff happening down the line. Like it just became at that point. You saw me. I went on Bobby's show.
Yeah.
Right.
And they cut around it. You said that.
Well, I didn't. I have no control over that. I didn't.
I try to make peace with this guy.
I know.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
I try to make peace with him behind closed doors. I try to reach out. I try to be cool. But by the way, and I'll just say this. We'll just empty it out. I never had a problem with Bobby Lee.
No, he knows.
I
that.
had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then
That's not even. Yeah. So this is I think what I saw on Twitter. That's not even something that you let go. Like what? No, that's okay. I don't know listen. I'm not the most socially aware guy when it comes to like laws or whatever, but is that not like some form of harassment of the sexual nature? Like I don't want to say it's like assault or anything, but I feel like harassment at least. Like you can't just do that like to a stranger, obviously, like at the very least, right? Like maybe if he's like really good friends with like what's the ginger on the on his podcast, Andrew, I don't remember his name. But yeah, like I know he has like the Bad Friends podcast, and it's like maybe he can get away with doing that to his co-host. But some guy that you show up to a podcast and you do that to some guy, like no. Like what are we talking about here?
every 2 seconds he kept grabbing my.
I don't think.
How?
No. What are we talking? No. Like, if they cut that out, that is crazy. That's crazy. Like, alright, not even like you don't cut that out. Like, if you don't, like, stand up for your friend and be like, hey, don't do that. That's not a thing you do. That's breaking the rules right there, buddy. Like Logan and yeah, the Mike Majalmuk guy, they seem scummy. Like they do.
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
right,
talk to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job.
No, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild and wacky and insane.
About impulsive anymore.
Whoa, what?
Like I don't, because okay. So here's the thing, and I'm sure this guy. This is a Tozy, by the way. I should probably. I'm stealing his content. He made the video. He's probably gonna show it later, but I know on like Logan Paul later made a TikTok where he tried to like disprove some of the claims that that the George Janko guy is making here. He doesn't even address the Bobby Lee stuff. So I don't think this seems like it's true because Logan hasn't even talked about this.
Leave that in or don't post the episode, or don't cut the episode like they did. Did they really hide Bobby Lee's garbage behavior and paint George to look sensitive so they could stay on good terms with Bobby? What? And if this was like to protect Bobby's image, I don't even think it would protect it that much because Bobby and Kalila, they've already been there, done that when it came to really tearing down his image. And for those of you guys who don't know, Bobby Lee is a massive comedian who has...
Yeah, I mean, Bob, yeah, but that's the other thing as well. Like, Bobby, what image?
had a very public relationship with his now ex-girlfriend and co-host of his podcast known as Tiger Belly. Roughly, I think it was like a year or two ago, that romantic relationship ended and it turned into a very public humiliation ritual where all sorts of wild stuff was said and just came out. But still, even though that's wild, that doesn't take away from what he did to George, if that's true.
How crazy is that?
I don't think I understood. I can only speak for myself.
Bro, it's on a group chat.
I hope you can understand.
It's on a group chat.
No. I'm talking about during the episode because there was, I didn't know that you were feeling.
But after the episode, do you remember?
I mean, okay, if we want to be like as charitable as possible here, maybe when you're bringing Bobby Lee on for an episode, in some way, you're kind of like agreeing for wacky shenanigans to ensue. Sure. Maybe. And maybe when Bobby Lee starts doing this stuff, maybe there's like awkward laughter from Logan and Mike Majelmuk. Maybe George Jankman tried to like laugh it off. Maybe, and so maybe Bobby Lee wasn't getting this proper signals and whatnot. But I don't think there's any justifying grabbing somebody's Long John Silver. I don't know. Like there's no justifying that. There's no justifying putting your hors d'oeuvres in somebody's face. Like that's just not a thing that you do. Like I actually don't care. Like I really don't care. Like there's no justifying that.
Remember when you called me and I said, Mike, this is all that happens, and you said verbatim, you said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guests. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes.
Okay, yeah, I probably like really misspoke earlier. Yeah, no, sexual assault I think is like, you know, maybe I should just look it up. Hold on. Jesus. Sexual. But I just feel like putting your nuts in somebody's face is just, that's crazy. What is like the actual definition? I think that okay, we're going with this one. Attempted grape, fondling, or this is assault. Yeah, no, that's assault. That's not just harassment. Fondling or unwanted sexual touching. That's according to Rain. That's I feel like this meets the definition.
Episode, so I couldn't show up.
I just think
on my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes.
I think
that's crazy. It was on the calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there was so much like confusion and disarray in the podcast that there was no coming back. We got to a point. No. First of all, I didn't say it was your fault.
Yeah, that's weird. Why did they set up the podcast like that? But I believe it simply based on how the guys were sat. You always have the main guest sitting right here, and then you had Mike and Logan sitting to the left, and then for some reason George was like kind of behind the host.
Yeah, I remember I watched a decent amount of that podcast with Bobby Lee, and it was just really unfair to Mike George Jankman. Cause yeah, it's like Bobby Lee was like always facing Logan and having to like turn to talk to George, and it's just like it's a super unfair situation, and like why would you put your friend in a situation like that? Like you can just have Bobby Lee sitting in such a way where he's like where every party is in his like peripheral vision or whatever. Like it's just bizarre. It really was.
right, which just didn't make sense.
Actually, I can just pull it up. Actually, I have that. I wield that power. Impulsive. Bobby Lee.
With Chewy, it's never been easier.
I'm warning you right now. Don't touch me.
Okay.
I'm a celebrity.
Do you know they?
Let's see.
I've been here to continue to drive and get.
What do you mean I know him?
I know. I came in here. I already knew the thing, man.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's weird. He's facing these two guys, right? Logan Paul and Mike Malzmick. And yeah, like George Janko is just like weirdly here in the corner. I don't know, like he could, like this chair could just be angled more towards the camera, I feel like. And it would be like so much better. But yeah, it is just bizarre.
Because then he was kind of like this fourth wheel on the show. It also subliminally puts the guest in a more uncomfortable situation as he's kind of surrounded by hosts. Like he's smack in the middle. If you don't know the hosts, you're going to be more uncomfortable when you're sitting in the middle of all of them rather than having your host on one side and the guest on the other side. And that just doesn't make sense for a show standpoint because you would want your guest to be as comfortable.
Bro, you know what's also a weird show? Like the Andrew Schultz or whatever. His show is so weird. Like, oh no, it's Flagrant. Flagrant podcast.
Drake says to me, "Do tell me in a ready?"
It's like, yeah, like they do the same thing.
You still yourself in the hallway.
Okay, can you just go to the white shop?
He felt, yes.
Yeah, where like the guest is like in the middle here. They're like facing the two main hosts. Oh wait, is this academics?
He was like in the
okay,
beginning.
wait. I think they fixed their show potentially. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. They used to have a similar like setup where like where the guest would sit like in the middle, and Andrew and his like little friend there, they would be like talking, and then there would be two goobers like on the left-hand side.
I know all
that would just be like awkwardly sitting there, sometimes butting in. I don't know. It was weird. Let me see if I can pull up a better example. I'm just going to like an older episode, maybe. I don't know if this is worth pausing the video for, but I just don't understand this setup at all.
Comedy.
It confuses me, actually. Yeah, where it's like these two guys on the left, they just like awkwardly sit there, I feel like. Or actually, oh, this might be better, actually. Hold on. I think I might have a different perspective now that I'm actually looking at this. I feel like this might actually be a better example. Yeah, this guy's actually sat down in a way where he can easily interact with the two guys on the left. Huh. Never mind. I think this might actually be a much better example.
As possible.
Also, I feel like even if these two guys were being cucked out of the conversation, I feel like two guys being left out is also probably way better than just one guy. That should be said as well. Like the George Janko situation feels especially bad.
To have the best possible conversation.
I was
Do
always
you know what
the
the
one
last
standing
straw
up
for me
for
was? The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave for my own fear. I told, when Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time we weren't making money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know George or Logan. He like says that this isn't true. By the way, I don't know.
You made money on the show.
But at the time, we're a couple months.
How much money did you make over the course
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
Right.
Name me a job that you're a part of that you spend $10,000 to do. Okay, so that's 1. 2, and by the way, let's not forget that for a year and a half I didn't get paid.
No, and I didn't get paid for years.
Okay.
Until I got paid.
Okay.
That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe I just don't understand how like podcasting works, but if you're like Logan Paul, I feel like I would just pay my friends. Like, that's weird.
That is a massive allegation from George here that Logan eventually did respond to. And Mike does push back about the money.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful.
Something like that?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about money, but I was always grateful. Always grateful. I think anybody could see that. But when I got pushed out...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, you can't talk about money and then not be like, I don't want to talk about the money. Because it's like, if you ended up, like, net profiting, like, I don't know, like $500K or something. I mean, that's... I don't know. It's like, it's weird to be like, well, there was this one period where I maybe wasn't being paid as much. I don't know.
And I'm seeing that I'm getting pushed out.
If you're making the allegation, I feel like you kind of have to get into the numbers a bit.
And I start my own show. Do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey, man, you can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What's that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And then I said, hey,
he
man.
didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. He told
Oh, God, I hate these podcasts, by the way. So apparently Celsius is like a sports drink brand or something. It's like a competitor to Prime. Just something about these podcasts, whether it be like Impulsive or the Nelk Boys or this nonsense where they just like have their sponsors just like weirdly like in and around the shot. I'm assuming they're drinking the Celsius. It looks like piss. It looks like he got that from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's just, I can't even really explain it, but it's just like the vibes are just off when I see stuff like this. I don't even know. I like. I guess it's because I feel like they try and make it come off as like organic, where it's like, yeah, you know, we're drinking Celsius. Yeah, you know, we have it around. We have it around the set. You know, yeah, look, just casually have Prime on the couch. You know what I mean? It's just there. It's just there. You know what I mean? Yeah, look, the Prime is just on the table. Yeah, we drink Prime sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Oh, look, yeah, we have Prime up on this shelf here. I don't know what about it. It just it makes it just feel disingenuous to me. I think like the Nelk podcast does it as well, right? Or Full Send, whatever it's called.
All right, boys. Today we got. All right, boys. Today we got a massive your car.
Like, what is this, bum? What is this? So cringe. Bored jerky, I guess that's another product. I don't know, it's just cringe to me.
I said, hey,
he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. He says,
if I take Celsius, I'm not a part of Impulsive.
Then he told you that if you take Celsius, that you cannot continue to be on Impulsive, which is the core driver for Prime, as you're going to continue to funnel viewership from the Impulsive show back to your show, which promotes a competitive product. Yeah. He also told you that
I feel like on this one, that's a weird move by George Jankman. Like really? You're going to take a sponsorship from the main competitor of Prime? That's just weird. That's also like a conflict. Yeah, that's a conflict of interest, because you may not own Prime, but you're on the Impulsive podcast, which is obviously directly correlated with Prime. Like, I feel like George is in the wrong here. It's like, you can't, if you're on the Impulsive podcast, you can't just take the sponsorship of the main competitor. Like, that's super weird to me.
wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
So what Mike said there makes sense. And if that's true, it's fair. Because at the time, George's audience was coming directly from Impulsive.
But they were always trying to find a way to push me out.
I don't.
You know what he told me? When I told you know what I told him?
I think that was
This
a
is a
fair.
guy.
Like, no, that's you pushing yourself out.
This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making. Okay, and on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the fuck out of it. I didn't care.
Ooh, he's over there making accusations of Mike Mausch McMacmanboo. Did you see how he just like snuck that in there? Like, oh yeah, I never asked for the money. Like you did, you Mike Maljamook, you asked for money.
I'm grateful for what I'm making. I'm gonna go start my own business. But when I come over here, because I'm scared I'm gonna lose my job here, and then you're saying no, I sent them out.
Not you're saying no. That's what. That once again, please, bro.
But let me
please,
just finish.
because that's one thing.
Well,
like,
are you saying you?
Yes.
No,
well,
no,
you
I'm not
said
saying you.
Because
No,
it's
you.
one thing. It's one thing. Like with all of this, bro. With all of this, that you have to understand. He wasn't the only one that took hits for how the relationship ended with you. I got the same brunt, bro. I got the same brunt.
Okay,
I got
question.
and I only ever spoke highly.
Can I
only
speak for a second, please?
Well, yeah, I mean.
So when I get that call and I tell him, I go, Logan, I get it, bro. And I fully told him, I go, listen, man, like, I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me.
Okay, so if Logan really said that, that is some...
Yeah, that's like that's some that's some like evil CEO or like evil like I don't know like bigwig Hollywood studio corporate fat cat language or whatever. Yeah, like that's a crazy thing to say to a supposed friend. Which is also like, yeah. I was trying to see if there was a way of like maybe justifying it, but no. That's a crazy thing to say.
Insane ego going on. It's also shocking that he didn't want to build up George, because if George's independent platform is larger, he would then bring more viewers to watch Impulsive. So that's just a win-win. Sponsors also a part of that equation, because if he has more sponsors, he can then afford to build out his team for the show so he can post more at a higher quality, which would then grow the show.
I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting everybody.
You
don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We were at a point where no one was speaking properly to each other. And the only person, probably, that was the calmest out of the three, I sent you a very nice text message. Please,
Mike, you went to Celsius to try to get my deal. Called me right after you called them. You never called to check in on me. You never called.
I texted you.
No, you didn't. It was after you went after the deal.
And by the way, I wasn't going after the deal.
You did.
I was going
after
the
you went after his piss sponsor. How could you?
Track to bring to Logan and say, beat this with Prime, please. I was never going to take the Celsius.
But listen,
I don't really know if I believe Mike here. Sponsorship rates, they're pretty standardized based on how many views you get and I guess your brand size. So Prime could just simply offer him a fair market value rate. I'm assuming he would either just accept or pass based on the price. And
if you're Logan, maybe Logan felt like George was like trying to use like sneaky tactics in order to get the sponsorship from Prime, right? Where he's gonna go and in my opinion, a pretty scummy manner, right? Like go try and get a sponsorship with the main Prime competitor while you're doing a podcast that is like heavily attached to Prime. And you know that's going to make like Logan upset. Like it's obviously going to cause conflict. Maybe Logan saw that as George. Maybe Logan saw that as George trying to like manipulate him into sponsoring the show. right? Where he's like, "Hey, listen, if you don't want me to take this, I mean, you can give me some of that Prime money, some of that sweet Prime dollaroos." I can maybe see Logan seeing that from his perspective. And then in the heat of the moment, Mike Malzmook is saying that, like, words or tensions were high. Maybe that's when that kind of language comes out. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really excuse it because that's still a crazy thing to say.
There's just no reason to fish around for like the deal number specifically. And also, especially if they're trying to save this relationship, they could just throw a deal his way and then the ball is in his court if he wants to continue this relationship or not. Also, this is such an LA moment, as there's just so much snaky behind the scenes stuff that apparently happens there.
Yeah.
You can't. Okay, so I have one friend.
This is influencing to the max.
By the way, we're just having a conversation. The one thing I am a little bit upset about was the text that you sent back to me. That's it.
I told you you're a piece of Everyone knows it.
Yes.
You need to. But dude, I meant every word of it.
That's crazy.
No, I'm
That's
not.
crazy. That's
if you
insane.
fell out, if you fell out and you started doing scummy moves to your friend, I called you out on it.
But I didn't do anything.
Yeah, this is all a he said, she said. But skipping forward, they bring Logan back up here.
I kind of want to pivot from this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if the Mike Malzmook guy was like trying to make like negotiations with the piss brand, and like afterwards he's saying like, "Nah, man, I'm just I'm just doing a reconnaissance, trying to figure out what it is, so that I was your friend. I was trying to convince Logan to match it." I was like, what are we talking about here? Like, if Logan wanted to match it, he could just go to George and ask him like, "Hey, what's the price? I'll see if I can match it." Like, Mike Malzmook's story doesn't really add up there.
It's just because like like it's unfair to talk about him because like he's not
here.
Yeah.
He's not here.
And just to make it
okay, well, if you don't want to talk about him when he's not here, you shouldn't be having this conversation at all. Like, what are you talking about?
Clear, because people are gonna clip it. Nothing that I went through would I change. I had I have great memories with Logan. I really do. I have great memories with him. He's taught me so much in life that I could handle now through what he's put me through and what he's taught me. He is one of God's greatest sharpening tools that I've ever had in my life. There's going to be so many things that I teach my children that he taught me. There is nothing that I regret with that relationship, but I will not bow anymore. And if he wants to come to me as a man and we could discuss it as men, then we'll talk about it. But I'm no longer his right hand.
Yeah, it's like, this is the part that... So, I mean, I'm assuming the Atozi guy is going to show more clips, but it does get to a point where it's like... It feels like... It just kind of feels like George is like trying to get Logan onto his podcast. It does kind of feel like that. Because it's like, you can't like make all these allegations, right? And then like try and act like the bigger man and be like, but you know what? But we shouldn't discuss the things that we've already discussed when Logan's not in the room with us. And then being like, no, if he wants to come into the room with us, maybe we can discuss it, right? Like, this is actually not thinking through all this right now. Like, it kind of seems like the same kind of behavior that maybe he did with the whole Celsius thing. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to be it.
First of all, you were only his left.
I wanted to keep that in for context before we take a look at Logan Paul's response, which has now been deleted.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on...
response was deleted. I did not realize that.
Logan Paul's response, which has now been deleted.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this
I don't know what's going on.
show, and I'm getting pushed out.
You made money on the show.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
All right, let's talk about this. Obviously, I wasn't on the podcast to represent myself, so I'd like to clarify a few things that were said. As well as having his own credit card, all expenses related to the show were paid for, including all travel and lodging. Obviously, George's total reimbursement came out to $20,000.
Oh, an accountant. Total George travel was covered by the podcast. We have all the data back up to support this. So, okay. So they're saying that everything related to everything related to the podcast that George had to do, like traveling and hotel and whatnot, I guess amounted to $20,000 and was covered. Okay.
317 cents. I'd love to see any books that show otherwise. Spending $120,000 a year to be on a show is a little confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a weird thing to say, that you were just like on a show and you just weren't getting paid. Or well, I guess the Mike Maljamouk guy says that that's true. That's crazy to me. I don't even understand how that works or why you would do it. Or I guess, I don't know, like there's a whole like paid by exposure thing. But yeah, like if you're also having to pay for like your hotel and lodging, like that is crazy. Like that would be wild.
So that is a direct counter to one of George's main reasons for why he left the show. George is going to have to respond to this.
This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making.
That statement is so crazy that it's almost laughable. That would mean I'm making $572 million a year. I'm nowhere near that. What happened was Prime had a very successful month. I think we did like 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way,
oh yeah, I mean, I don't know, that seems like that might be a reasonable response from Logan as well. I don't know.
Always grateful. I was always grateful.
Like that?
Yeah, I don't like talking about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on him.
Dang! Oh, I didn't even realize that when I saw this earlier. He just like straight up revealed how much money he made. Dang. Okay, actually, this is interesting. So December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. They were saying that there was like a period of time where they weren't getting paid. Is that not true? Is Logan directly countering that? It's interesting. It's interesting to see. I don't know.
Impulsive. The work requirements consisted of about 3 days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever. It comes out to about $2,300 per hour, and he also had 10% equity of the entire show.
If this is true and he was actually reimbursed for all travel, that's a very fair deal.
Not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second. But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile the friendship.
You coming to WrestleMania? Not true and no. Okay, well, it'd be interesting to see what he's responding to there. That's what I was told. Not sure. Coming to birthday dinner at least. Missed you yesterday, Georgie. What's up, gangster? How you living? Good, Bubba. How you doing? Immensely happy and healthy. Just wanted to check in on you. Amazing, bro. Glad to hear it. Thank you. Hold on. Did he say that? Actually, did George say that Logan?
This is true, and he was actually reimbursed for all travel. That's a very fair deal.
Not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second.
Okay. Well, he didn't directly say that Logan didn't reach out to him, so I don't know.
But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile the friendship. I invited him to my birthday party and WrestleMania and even my ranch a few weeks later. He chose not to come. He also unfollowed.
I'm a therapist who goes to therapy, and some people think that's strange. The thing is, though, therapists are human beings, just like
all the people he mentioned on Instagram, which is maybe why they didn't call him. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but he still does not follow them to this day.
And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
The 2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday.
Ooh.
His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that I love about George.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, if it's not even on your birthday and you decided to... Yeah, I don't know, like, if this is a situation where maybe you plan, maybe on George's side, maybe he planned in advance to spend his time with his family on that day, but it's also like, yeah, if they're doing like UFC stuff and they're like taking that opportunity to film with people, I mean, I don't think you can get mad at that. Like with the way a lot of these podcasts work, like they are like you get the guests when you're able to get the guests, or I should say the way that I imagine a lot of these podcasts work. like I think when you're like when you're making the agreement with the guest, like I don't think you can be like, hey Conor McGregor, yeah, my one of our co-hosts, George, he's going to his birthday party on this day, so can you do the next day? It's like, no, I imagine it's like, oh, you can do this on this day, Conor McGregor? Yes, we can do it, sir. I imagine that's how it works. So this seems like a weak complaint from George, I guess.
George, he prioritizes his family and friends over anything.
Again, if that's true, it seems like George misrepresented a lot of the key details here. My big question then is Logan going to talk about the Bobby or religion situation, though?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor.
Oh, wait. Sorry. After my dentist appointment at 3 p.m., want to go see John Wick 5 or whatever. We got to get you Prime. That's our competitor. Interesting. Okay.
I told him, please don't film. Like, I'd like to talk about it. They told me to. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film. Like, I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money. The entire text is right here.
Totally understand you have to do what you have to do, and I support your decision. I respect the fact that you're focusing on your platform, and I understand you have to pay the bills. I'm sorry Impulsive isn't enough for that. Just like you're looking out for yourself, I have to do the same. My business partners and I don't find it appropriate to promote one of our biggest competitors. I'm excited to watch you build your podcast, and when / if the deal is up and you want to come on Impulsive, the invite is open. I'd like to talk about how to move forward with this amicably on social, because I'm sure we can avoid the lame public back and forth and handle this in a mature way that our 8 years of friendship deserves. I support you, and we'll drive to your
that I sent him after our
house, I'm
conversation.
assuming, or something, whatever. I hope your business has long-term success. We will always be friends first. This is just business. Excited to see you at WrestleMania and my birthday dinner. Love you. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? If George Jankman took the deal without even talking to Logan first, that's a scummy thing to do. Like, that's just that is simply a conflict of interest. I mean, it just is. So, like, yeah.
Because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on Impulsive if he's going to take the deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
I mean, that's kind of reasonable, and that's close to what Mike said previously, but I'm interested in George's take on this, or his response on this, because George filming Logan, rubbing it in that he's going to a competitor of Logan's, number one, that just doesn't make sense. Number two, it doesn't really look good on George's end either. So I don't really know why he would want to do that. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So much of the situation is just, he said this. No, he said this. So we don't really know.
Hey man, where you're at, there's no room for you to grow. They won't let you grow. They will not let you grow.
I thought saying that to Mike was a little crazy. He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author.
Oh yeah, that's kind of that's a little that's a little snaky. He's like trying to convince Mike to come onto his show or whatever.
He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author. I tried as much as I could to help him get into those positions, and it's not entirely because of me. Mike is a phenom in his own right, and he capitalized on the platform that I gave him, which is awesome, just like George is doing now. But if that's not growth, like, what is? In fact, I think people forget, like, I praised George for starting a podcast, like, a lot.
Georgie started his own podcast. I think it's a great idea. I always love when my co-hosts venture out and do their own things. Congratulations. It's awesome, guys. Check out his podcast.
And also saying they won't let you grow was a little hurtful, because I thought at least I helped Mike do some of the things that he did, and I even encouraged him to start his own podcast.
I think you should take a page out of George.
I wonder if Logan is like I wonder if he's like also feeling betrayed by Mike for like Mike going on George Jankman's podcast or whatever. It's kind of what it sounds like. I don't know.
Georgie's book and start a show of your own.
There's no greater feeling than watching people you love succeed. I try to give people around me a platform, and if they capitalize on it, fantastic. Mike and George did. And George will even tell you this off camera. I encouraged him to pursue media and comedy since 2015. I really believe in the kid, and I still do. There's a lot more. I'm not going to get into it, but this isn't to say, by the way, that I didn't fuck up along.
Yeah, there is a lot more, and you should get into it, actually.
The way I did. I should not have mocked his beliefs. I apologize for that. I should have stuck up for him with Bobby Lee, and I definitely should have.
He does kind of address it. But okay, hold on. You need to if you need to address whether or not you edited stuff out.
His back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story.
I know Mike Mulzmik, he confirmed that they edited stuff out. What needs to be addressed is if Bobby Lee like sexually assaulted George Jankman, because that's scummy.
Have had his back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story has unfolded this way. I wish him nothing but health, wealth, happiness, all the success that he wants, and I hope that one day we can sit down and have a relationship and a conversation.
Okay, good response on Logan's part, but now a lot more stuff is up in the air. George's podcast is still up and unedited, so I don't really know what that means, but George did respond with one tweet. Hey, no need to make TikToks. Come talk to me in person. We can handle it like real men. But that tweet is also deleted now. We also just recorded this video.
Dang. First of all, happy Mother's Day before I get into this drama, because I gotta go take my mom out. I'm having a splendid day today. Second,
He doesn't. I saw this. He doesn't look like he's having a splendid day. This video feels very much like that Wojak, where he's wearing like a smug mask, but he's crying in the background.
Because I gotta go take my mom out. I'm having a splendid day today. Second, your TikTok is cute, bro. It's cute. I get it. You're doing your best to show face. Do whatever you need, bro. Like, talk to your team. Do whatever you need. But when you want to be a man, come talk to me like a man. Let's sit down like men and talk about it. Mike did it. Mike's a real man. He had the chance to come, sit, talk, show all of his points of views, brother. You could bring camera. You could bring your attorney, bro. Come sit on the couch and talk to me like a man. Let's talk, bro. Because obviously you want to talk. Let's talk. Come talk to me, bro.
So, will we see?
This seems that's the thing that I saw where I'm like, this kind of just feels like he's just trying to like really coax Logan into getting onto his podcast. That's what it feels like. It's like, I don't know. It's like Logan had, receipts saying that you lied about the money and stuff. Can you disprove that? Or were you capping in your podcast? I mean, it's like, put up or shut up. That's my take.
See Logan and George talking this out on one of their podcasts? Who knows? Probably because this is the influencer industry. And now they've kind of hyped it up. But this whole situation just shows how important communication is between friends and business partners. Because if these guys just communicated their feelings rather than held on to their grudges, this likely wouldn't have escalated to this point. Also, Logan, didn't you promise something to the CryptoZoo holders?
Yeah, just like be a human being. Have either of you ever considered that? Maybe? I don't know.
Likely wouldn't have escalated to this point. Also, Logan, didn't you promise something to the CryptoZoo holders that still hasn't happened? It's been...
Logan also did like the crypto scam, so he's like kind of a scumbag. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I remember the ins and outs of that or that I even really understand what Bitcoin is or whatever. Is it Bitcoin or is it, oh God, what is the fake money that cryptocurrency? Yeah, that's it. It's not Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't even know. Dude, I stopped understanding technology once like cryptocurrency became a thing. I was like, I don't understand what that is.
A minute now. But other than that, you can check out my mats at matt.city in the top description down below if you want another way to support my channel. We have the Atozi City, which is behind me right here. We have New York, we have LA, we have plenty more dropping soon. Also, we have mouse mats in all sizes, with our largest ones being the ones that cover your whole desk. They're also braided around the edges.
Support the guy that I'm stealing the content from.
FPS games for a long time. But other than that, if you're
Atozi, that's his name here. Atozi, go Go check out his channel. Yeah, it's a weird situation. It feels like it really does feel like George should clear up the stuff that that Logan kind of proved him wrong on. I guess now that I think about it, considering the fact that Logan didn't directly say that the Bobby Lee stuff didn't happen, like he didn't say that it didn't happen, means that it probably did happen as George laid out. And with that being the case, that's like almost unforgivable to me. I don't know, like some guy puts his junk on me. Some guy grabs my willy. And my friend just like sits there, does nothing about it. He then like tells me to apologize to the guy, or else he's gonna fire me. That's crazy. Like that's unforgivable. That's just like not even for like let's say that George does have this like devious plan. Like it's almost understandable. because of the Bobby Lee stuff alone. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Logan, unsurprisingly, just kind of doesn't seem like a very good person. Like, he can sit here and say that, like, oh man, I wish I handled the Bobby Lee situation better, blah, blah, blah. That's like an unforgivable thing to do, man. You know? So, yeah, that's a video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.